What is up, everyone? Quick little morning message. I thought I'd throw together one of my shorter things. As thoughts come to me, I'm like, well, I'll put them on YouTube. Today, I want to talk about something that's been done and beat to death as a cliche, but exploring the mental toughness of special forces or Green Berets. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there that already touches on this, and there's a lot of assumptions. Some are right and some are wrong, but also there's just a lot of stuff that's kind of extrapolated from media and other many of my other soft peers. But the thing I wanted to touch on today is what I don't think a lot of people think about is seeing if people can handle if the special forces operator can handle the mental challenges they face every day. So, what do I mean by that? Without getting into it, because it's actually going to be a pretty cool thing. I don't want to ruin the surprise. An individual reached out to me, and we're going to, I hate this word, collaborate. But by definition, that's what we're going to do. And it occurred to me that a lot of, particularly civilians or just people that don't know, put special forces people up on like a pedestal of all knowing. And some, not to disparage any people individually or specifically, some operators embrace that image, or I really missed something in a lot of my training because the amount of socio-political experts out there. Granted, I will argue Green Berets have a very um, interesting socio-political interjection when it comes to their deployments. There's a lot more plugging into governments, plugging into tribes, and actually learning the local customs and government more than some. So I will argue there is an experience there that one could take further once they're out of their career to enhance more political settings, for example. So, and that's actually a perfect point of there are a lot of people who assume, and there's a lot of soft guys who embrace this giant deception that just because I'm just going to always say Green Beret in this case. Just because you're Green Beret, you're automatically a god of politics. It's like no, or just because you're Green Beret, all of a sudden you can write a book on survival. And yes, there are Green Berets that have the foundation that we all have that do go on to take advanced survival courses, X, Y, and Z. So there are the foundation stuff is more what I'm talking about, just the generic foundation stuff. And the reason it came up today is because this individual reached out to me, and it's going to be fun. And I'm not knocking the guy, but it made me think is that the way it's being approached is he wants to be like civilian versus Green Beret, and the topic I'm being really vague on. I'm like, I'm on the thing he has experience in. I'm like, you're gonna crush me. Just because I'm a Green Beret and I touched on this topic I'm being extremely vague on in my training and some experience, doesn't automatically make me a god of said topic. So, like one of the important ways to understand the importance of the mental strength through the stories of special forces guys is these the I'm going to say men just because I'm used to when there were only men. So deal with it. These men exemplify like not only courage but fortitude, and that I think is the defining difference or factor when it comes to being a Green Beret, for example. I might not know as much as this individual. And again, this isn't, I'm not comparing I'm not doing a dick measuring contest with a guy. But it's I think the thing, particularly with Green Berets in my experience, and that's all I have for reference, so I can't speak on behalf of anybody else. I think you can teach a guy to shoot, you can teach a guy to do stitches and surgery, but there is something that can't be taught that then becomes applicable in every situation that, in my case, a Green Beret comes into, good or bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. And I think that's the defining factor. So I may not be an expert in X, or many of my other fellow Green Berets might not be an expert in X, but that mental toughness, and sometimes it's a power, but it's also it can be used for good and evil. It's also a huge detriment to functioning in society sometimes. But that thing that mental toughness or whatever that is, the word I can't, they're they're in our inoculation that allows us to be resilient while coping with the strategies that allow us, that equip us to navigate these intense situations without being overwhelmed. That is the thing that it's almost like talent versus work, versus skill. Skill you have, talent, or talent you have, skill can be built, and they work synergistically. So I think that there's whatever, I'm going to use the word talent in this case, but like that thing that can't be touched or can't be taught can be enhanced. And I think that's the thing. I may quote unquote lose in this thing I'm doing with this gentleman that reached out, but I'll be damned if I don't die trying. And I think, or I know that that is the thing a lot of people probably just might miss out on. And it's not an elitist thing or anything. There is the common denominator when you line up any Green Beret or SEAL. Yeah, there are some things that kind of draw a certain person, body type, etc. But you will see, particularly in Army Special Forces, the diversity of, like, if you just did a lineup of dudes, you'll have guys that are farmers, you'll have like college athletes, you'll have elite college uh, studious individuals, you'll have partiers, you'll have social nerds, you'll have everything. So they're all going to have extreme differences when it comes to those things and their backgrounds and all of these things. But the common thread that's actually way below the surface that isn't as obvious and overt is the mental strength that isn't a trait. It's a necessity, and it inspires and can grow and help develop the individual and others to build their resilience and face the challenges with like that unwavering determination. And that's the common thread. That's the common denominator. And so yeah, I might not know all of the in this. I can't wait to share what's going to be happening, but I might not have all of the skills, but I have the wiring and the ability to take what I've done and how I'm wired and apply that to a new circumstance and a new skill, and deal with it, roll with it, learn from it. I don't want to say faster because that implies like a rate of speed, but more maybe efficiently because of this other stuff. And I think, and I look forward to it, but, being a dude, my ego is, I don't like to quote unquote lose. So I want to know everything, but that's impossible. But I think there are people that are wired to be capable of having a compensatory mechanism for lack of skills. And just using that reference of skill versus talent, that talent can be so off the charts that any skill that comes in can be handled. Some people can pick up any manual labor job or any manual labor skill, from welding to tractor driving to fly tying for fly fishing, because my dad's one of those guys. They just have a way of absorbing and seeing the world through their little filtered special eyes. And I think for our world, it works great as a power and a positive power for Green Berets or other special operations guys. But put them in a spot where it's a foreign thing, that power or that inherent talent, it's going to look for traction and it's going to try to figure it all out. But then if it's a thing where it's if it's so far fetched from the world they came from, it's just their tires are going to be spinning and it'll be extremely frustrating, because it's like, I this is foreign to me. I've never not been able to crush the world. And hell, age is a great example. You can't Green Beret the broken fucking body. You can't counter that with talent and a cool badass work ethic or resilience or any weird strategy that helps you navigate aging. So like that stress inoculation, it only goes so far. It doesn't actually go into like your muscles and all that. It's just like this weird mental strength but it gives you an ability to push through the adversity, stay focused under pressure, and adapt in uncertain situations. Anyway, that was kind of rambly, but it's just a random thought I had that I'm very fascinated and very honored and very blessed. I hate that word sometimes. Blessed to have been in that world and have left it and with what I've taken. And I've said this countless times to a lot of people kind of behind the scenes and a lot of old teammates, where I wish I was who I am today when I was an active duty Green Beret. Because the guy I was then, I wasn't a piece of shit or anything like that, but the guy I was then wasn't, I guess, I don't think ready to be a Green Beret. So I really wish I was who I am now back then. Body wise, I was pretty broken then. Now I'm even more broken, so it physically can't be done. But it's yeah, that's it. I'm curious, as you know, as I wrap up, I encourage you to, I guess, share your thoughts on mental strength in general. It doesn't have to be Green Berets or Special Forces guys, just in general, your thoughts on mental strength. You know, do it in the comments. Don't forget to explore all the other videos. I don't know where something's going to pop up here on, you know, I'm going to be touching on military training and psychology stuff, some Hollywood shenanigans. And I'm going to try to just kind of delve more with as much insight as I can into the fascinating subjects from the life of this weird Swiss Army life I've lived. So thank you for your time. The usual YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share. It helps beat and fight the algorithm. I'm very curious what we can do with this whole thing I'm trying to do. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.